Welcome, everybody. This is Buck Joffrey with the Wealth Formula Podcast, coming to you from Montecito, California. And today I'm going to do something a little different for this Friday. I am going to be a self-help guru. So I've done that a little bit, just with some of the things that we've done. But this one will be blatantly so an example of a self-help guru. So here it goes. And tell me what you think, because I think it's useful stuff. This is stuff I think about myself, but you may or may not find this interesting. But let's begin with a principle that I think is really important in people's lives, and that is the pain-pleasure principle. You see, at the core of human behavior, everything that we do, everything is driven by the desire to either avoid pain or pursuit of pleasure. That's basically it. And this principle is ultimately rooted in our biology, right? It's an ancient survival mechanism. If you get stung by something, it's going to be painful and you're going to react to it. You want to avoid that, right? And eat something sweet. It makes you feel good, and that's why you do that. So the thing is, in modern life, it also governs our habits, decisions, and actions as well. So just some key points here. Now, again, what is the biological basis here? The brain is wired to move away from pain, like we talked about, and towards pleasure. It's an instinct that ultimately has ensured our survival as a species. Every action you take, whether it's hitting the snooze button, eating that extra slice of cake, or avoiding a difficult conversation, it's influenced by your brain's calculation of whether it is going to hurt, cause pain, or if it's going to make you happy and you're going to feel pleasure. So think about procrastination. So we often procrastinate because we associate more pain with the actual task at hand than the pleasure of completing it. Conversely, we might indulge in habits like overeating, that's one for me, because we associate them with the immediate pleasure. I love the way it tastes when I eat something good. And we'll do that even if there are negative long-term consequences. So now this is where it gets interesting, because we can, if we want to, and if we're aware of it, we can consciously rewire these associations. And if you can learn to associate massive pain with behaviors you want to eliminate and immense pleasure with behaviors you want to adopt, you can actually change the way your brain thinks about them. So think about a habit you've struggled to break. What pain do you associate with changing this habit? What pleasure do you associate with keeping it? And as you reflect on that, it's going to be important. Keep it in mind, because it will be crucial as we continue along in this discussion. But before we can leverage pain and pleasure to create change, we need to identify our triggers and those situations, thoughts, or feelings that push us towards certain behaviors. So triggers are, the catalysts that prompt us to act. They can be external, like a stressful day at work, or internal, like feeling lonely or anxious. So an example might be, say your goal is to exercise regularly, but you find yourself skipping workouts because a trigger might be, feeling exhausted after a long day, which you associate with pain of a tough workout. So start observing your patterns. When do you tend to engage in the behavior you want to change? What emotions or situations precede it? Awareness is the first step to change, because once you've identified your triggers, you can begin to dissociate the old painful or pleasurable associations and start creating new ones. So if you're into this, which I don't know if you are or not, because this is not usually what we talk about on this show, keep a journal of your triggers. Write down what happened before you engaged in the behavior, what you felt, and what thoughts ran through your mind. Okay, so now that you've identified your triggers, it's time to rewire those associations your brain makes with pain and pleasure. And this is where it's work. But if you can do it, it can be incredibly empowering. So how do you dissociate pain from positive change? So often we associate pain with the very changes we need to make, like discomfort of exercising or the fear of stepping out of our comfort zone. Now, vividly imagine the long-term pain of not making the change. So the example here would be like, if you continue to avoid exercise, there is a potential of huge health consequences down the line: chronic illness, lack of energy, reduced lifespan, and being out of shape and not the way you want to look. Make that pain feel real and immediate in your mind. Okay, conversely, visualize the pleasure that comes from making the change itself. Now imagine feeling it, healthy and full of energy. Now you're ripped, right? Picture yourself enjoying the activities of a healthier person, a healthier lifestyle, and what that would do for you. I know it sounds hokey, but this stuff actually works. You know, it's a technique that's all about creating a strong emotional connection to your desired outcomes. And the more vividly you can imagine both the pain of inaction and the pleasure of action, the more motivated you're going to be. Another guided visualization here. Close your eyes. Think about a change you want to make. Now picture yourself 5 years down the road if you don't make this change. What pain do you feel, right? I mean, that's like one of those things where, you know, you want to quit your job and start a business or whatever when you maybe that's what you want to do. That's the way I was when I was, you know, out of residency. I wanted to quit working for someone and start my own thing, right? What do you feel if you're still doing that 5 years later? Kind of feels like it sucks, right? Now switch gears. Picture yourself having successfully made the change and all of a sudden the way it looks, having your own freedom, doing what you wanted to do. You know, this is the kind of stuff that you've got to visualize basically every day to reinforce new associations.